Hello, how's it going everyone? My name's Adara, so I'll be blunt about it. Recently, I've seen a bunch of videos popping up on this classic Disney movie. So as these things go, I got nostalgic and revisited it, and truly, it's as good as I remember it. The action is a lot of fun, the world of Atlantis is beautiful, the characters are all really charming, and the overall story is dealt with a nice sense of maturity that I highly respect. And I mean that in more ways than you might think. For in this movie, little secrets are hidden in plain sight, which deepens the main arcs of the movie, and today, we're gonna talk about them in this video. Atlantis, the Lost Empire, the dark, untold hidden stories. So as you can see, if you paid attention and read the full title, these discoveries were not made by me. They were made by the lovely folks on Reddit, so if you'd like to read the originals, I will link them in the description of this video. With that being said, let's get into the dark lore of this film.
Oh my god, Adara, I'm so fucking tired of your gloomy ass shit, for fuck's sake. Dark story this, secret that. Why don't you make happy videos from time to time?
You want happy story? Fine, bitch. We're gonna mix things up here in the Adara Variety channel. We're gonna talk about sex.
What the fuck?
Yes, my lovely dorks. This is a naughty theory inside of a Disney movie. I mean, I'm not sure if this is the first adult theory on Disney, and it definitely won't be the last. But before we get into it, this is only the appetizer of the hidden stories we're covering today. If you don't want to hear the spicy Adara Variety channel story, you can skip to this timestamp to get the delicious dark untold secret shit I basically live off of. Okay, now that all four of you are still here, allow me to entertain you with this little theory. Helga uses sexual favors to persuade Milo and meet Whitmore and join the Atlantis expedition. Okay, thank you for all three of you that have stayed. That aside, I don't think this theory is too far-fetched when you first hear it. I mean, do you guys remember how all sexy-like Helga was dressed when she first encounters Milo? Dude, I picked that shit up when I was a kid, fam. Like, I low-key remember being all like... But anyways, there's more evidence besides Helga dressing all seductive-like. When Milo arrives home, the power is cut. This could be because Helga wants him alone, in the dark, and also because Helga wants to conceal her identity, as she knows she will later act as his commander, and she wants to minimize his chance of recognizing her. When Milo enters his flat, he calls out, "Here, kitty," perhaps a crude pun on the fact that, while he might not find his kitty, he may find some pussy inside. When Milo first sees her, Helga is silhouetted suggestively and dressed provocatively. Her coat swung low on her shoulders, an overly sexual type of attire that action girl Helga never again wears in the film. As she beckons him in, she sinks alluringly to the seat and likens herself as Santa Claus, while also providing the double meaning of the phrase, ho, ho, ho. She is using her sexuality to get what she wants, so in a way, she is a ho, ho, ho. We cut quickly to the next scene and see Helga, all business now that the deed is done, straightening Milo to meet her boss. Both their clothes are distorted, as though flung on in a hurry, and Helga's entire demeanor has changed. She is much more formal, while Milo is flustered and embarrassed. Later in the film, Milo and Helga meet again. Milo is shocked and embarrassed by this meeting. If Helga was simply completing an errand for Whitmore by picking Milo up, then he shouldn't be particularly surprised to see her. After all, she would simply be another of the wealthy investor's employees. Why would his reaction be so extreme if nothing happened between the two? Because he feels awkward around her and is inexperienced both with women and sex, since he's the stereotypical socially uncomfortable scholar. Her reaction is similarly incriminating, but for different reasons. Badass, nonchalant Helga rolls her eyes and acts impatient with Milo's shots. Either she has done this before and finds it trivial, so is exasperated by Milo's inability to move past their encounter, or is simply in her character to not romanticize sex, so she finds Milo's awkward behavior irritating in general. The evidence for this theory is all there. Helga convinced Milo to join their expedition using her sexuality, and once the single job was complete, she cut ties with him.
Atlantis, the lost empire? More like Atlantis, the lost virginity, am I right? Fuck, I wanna end me.
Alright. That little story aside, there is one thing that really caught my attention while I was rewatching this movie. If you remember the scene where the crew started their journey by going underwater in the submarine, you will see that Mr. Whitmore is giving a thumbs up as the submarine goes down. However, you also see that he crosses his fingers. I noticed this as a kid as something odd, but always brushed it off from my mind since back then we couldn't just look things up on the internet. But fast forward to today, as the curious little lad that I am, I embarked on a Google search for the answer to this mystery, and oh god, what I found was very interesting. As we all know, when a character crosses their fingers behind their back, it's a sign that they are lying. When used in film, it can be shown as a change of character or visual representation of their true intentions. It's symbolic, but it's also believed that it protects you from the consequences of lying, or absolves you from being held to your word to begin with. So what is Whitmore lying about? Well, up until now, he talked to Milo about his expedition, saying that it was all for the sake of his grandfather's unfulfilled dream. Keep in mind that Whitmore didn't believe in Atlantis, nor Milo's grandfather at first, but then Grandpa found the shepherd's journal, and it changed everything. It was proof that it was real. Also, Grandpa, as told in the movie, died under mysterious circumstances. Mysterious circumstances, you say? I think you all know where I'm going with this. That's right, ladies and gents. Whitmore, Grandpa's so-called friend, killed him for the journal. He was in cahoots with Rook all along. Blasphemy, you say? Well, here's some evidence to back it up. First, when Whitmore introduced Milo to Rook for the first time, they were all talking about the journey. Rook said something along the lines of, "Yes, this will be enriching for all of us." While looking at Whitmore, it was basically an indirect between them since we also see Whitmore smirking. Second, Whitmore mentioned that Grandpa told them all about Milo as he introduced himself as a close friend, but Milo never heard of Whitmore before. If he truly was a close friend, Milo would have known of him. The truth then is that Whitmore probably hired a private investigator on Grandpa's life and found out about Milo by luck. And of course, the fact that he was a translator. And third, the head of the expedition might have been Rook, but before the expedition could be made, there needed to be a bigger head, the creator of the expedition, the funder. And that wasn't Rook, that was Whitmore. Grandpa showed him the diary first, so obviously Whitmore, not Rook, was the first to see the page of the giant blue crystal and hear the explanation for what it might be from Grandpa. He was the one who ripped the page and showed it to Rook, who formed a team to hunt the lost treasure. So, what is the untold story here? The story before the movie? It most likely went something like this. After the discovery, Whitmore wanted to fund another expedition for Grandpa, the expedition we see in the movie. Whitmore made it clear, however, that he wanted it so they could find the gem of Atlantis and make everyone rich. Of course, Rook was full into the plan. However, being a very spirit-filled scientist with a love of discovery and not money, Grandpa saw this as a wrong and refused to work for Whitmore. So in anger and frustration, what does Whitmore do to Grandpa? He lightly got tortured until he gave in to translating the book, but because he was so senile, he couldn't take the torture and passed away. But unfortunately, my friends, Whitmore got very lucky, for he found out about Milo, who was vulnerable after the loss of his grandpa, the laughingstock of the board of scientists, and turned down multiple times to the point that he resigned at his last desperate chance in funding the trip. Everything fell perfectly in place at his blood-filled hands, and the worst part, he came out completely blame-free, with Milo thinking fondly of him by the end of the movie. Yeah, guys, sad thing about this world is that evil wins sometimes. But anyways, what do you guys think about these untold stories? Did they change the way you viewed the movie in any way, or was it all a bunch of nonsense? Do you have any theories about this movie of your own? Leave all those thoughts and comments in the comment section below. I read every single one and try to reply to the ones that I can. So yeah, thank you guys so much for watching. Like, subscribe, and click the bell to be notified of new uploads. Please show your support by sharing this video around. It really does help with the analytics and it helps my channel grow. I would be very grateful. You could also follow me on Twitter. The link is in the description. I hope you have a wonderful day. And remember to stay determined. TTFN, guys.